everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be doing a series review, and the series I'm going to be reviewing is the Remnant Chronicles by Mary E. Pearson. The first book is The Kiss of Deception, the second is The Heart of Betrayal, and the third is The Beauty of Darkness. So I loved this series. I can't believe it took me so long to finally finish this series. I've had the whole series sitting on my shelf for a few years now, and I can't believe it took me so long to actually finish the whole series. I read the first book, Kiss of Deception, like 3 years ago, and I really enjoyed it, and I knew I wanted to continue with the series, but I didn't for whatever reason at the time, and they've just been sitting on my shelf, so now I finally, it was one of the backlist series that I wanted to get to this year, and I finally did, and I loved it. So the first book, Kiss of Deception, it's about a girl named Leah who was supposed to be getting married. She had an arranged marriage set up by her parents, and on her wedding day, she decides to run away. She goes on the run with her best friend and leaves town and goes to another town called Terravan, where her best friend is from, and just basically tries to make a normal, regular life for herself in the small town. So that's where we get started. The story is told from 3 different perspectives: Leah, the prince, and the assassin. So the prince, who Leah was supposed to marry, he basically at the beginning, he's like, who is this chick that like had the guts to run away from this marriage? Like, I was wanting to run away, but I was too cowardly to do it. So who is this girl who had the guts to run away? And so he basically follows after Leah to kind of, he lets his curiosity get to him, and he wants to meet her and see who is this girl. And then the third perspective is the assassin. He is sent from the kingdom of Venda to basically kill he's an assassin, so kill the princess so that, she can't change her mind and go back and form an alliance, because the Princess Leah is from the kingdom of Morgan, and the prince she was supposed to marry is from Dalbrek. And so their marriage would have solidified an alliance between the 2 kingdoms, and the kingdom of Venden, the ruler over there, he's like, can't have that happening, so now that she's on the run, perfect time to try and kill her. So he sends an assassin after her. So that's pretty much the premise of the first book. And oh my gosh, so much happens in this series, which is why I love it. So I gave the first book a 5 out of 5 stars, which I think is different from when I reviewed it the first time around 3 years ago. I do have a full review of my thoughts from 3 years ago, so if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link down below. So I think that's different. I definitely remember, I definitely feel like I loved it a lot more this time around than I did the first time. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with the audiobook. So I listened to this on audio. I had the physical book as well. And so I listened to this on audio while I read the physical book. And I love the audiobook. The audiobook is amazing. It's got a cast that narrates for the different characters, so I don't remember the names of the people who play the characters, but so you have someone different playing Leah, Caden, and Raph. And that's the other interesting thing about this book, is some of the chapters, it's told in 3 different perspectives, but some of the chapters are labeled the prince or the assassin, and then you have other chapters labeled either Caden or Rafe. And you don't know in the beginning, you don't know which is which. You don't know if Caden is the prince or the assassin, or if Rafe is the prince or the assassin. So you find out midway through the first book, but in the beginning you have no idea who's who. And so there's a little bit of a mystery there, trying to figure out, okay, is this the prince or is this the prince? And since I had read this like 3 years ago, I actually forgot who was who. So reading it again this time around, it was like rediscovering who was who all over again. So that was interesting. And I still got it wrong this time around. Like, I thought I had picked up on the subtle hints and clues better this time around. And so I thought I had figured it out, and I for sure knew who was the prince, who was the assassin, and I still got it wrong. But I feel like there was one detail in there that kind of threw me off, that made me get it wrong, which I know sounds like an excuse, but yeah. So like I said, I love the first one. Leah is such a great character. She's super strong. She's very compassionate, and I loved seeing that about her. You'll see these moments, especially towards the end. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but you get these moments where you really see her compassion comes out even towards her enemies, and I'm just like, I love her. So yeah, I overall just freaking love this book. Another thing I think changed from the first time that I read it till now is the first time I read it, I remember thinking the middle part felt kind of slow and kind of lost a little bit interest in the middle, which is probably why I didn't rate it as high. But this time around, I didn't get that feeling. Like, I loved every second of this book. And I don't know, maybe that's due to the audiobook. I was just so much more engaged with the audiobook. And so maybe that's why, but I loved every minute of it. And I was just like, yes, this is a new favorite of mine for this year. So I highly, highly, highly recommend listening to the audiobook. So now for the second book, The Heart of Betrayal. And I'm going to keep this whole series review spoiler free, so I won't get into any details or anything. But with the second book, this one was probably my favorite book of the series. I love this one so much. It picks up right where the first one leaves off, which the first one left off on a cliffhanger. This one also leaves off on a cliffhanger. I'm glad I had all 3 books to marathon through, because there's some major cliffhangers, so you're going to want to have all 3 books ready to marathon through. But yeah, it picks up right where the first one leaves off, and we find out a lot more in this one. In this one, we get to see more of the Kingdom of Venda, and we learn more about its history and its ties to Morgan, and, you know, a lot of the different cultural aspects to this. So I really love that. I think the world building in here is fantastic, and I loved it. I loved seeing all those parts. I really enjoyed some of the new characters we get introduced in this one. We get introduced to Aster and her siblings, which I loved her. And then we get introduced to some characters that I really couldn't stand, like the commissar. Um, but overall, I loved all the things we found out in this book. I love seeing Leah's character development in this one as well. In this one, in the second book, we see a lot more from Leah's perspective, and we don't get as much from Rafe and Caden's perspective in this book. And I was okay with that. I didn't mind it. But we do see her more than anyone else. And I like seeing her grow. I like seeing her character development in this. The ending of the second one, like I said, another cliffhanger, and there was some crazy twist at the end, and I'm just like, there were so many oh my gosh they can't moments in this book that I was just like, ugh. So, like I said, 5 out of 5 stars. This one was my favorite one in the series. And then the last book, The Beauty of Darkness. That one I also gave 5 out of 5 stars. So this whole series has been a 5-star series for me. I just had fun with this, and I loved every minute. But the last one, again, picks up right where the second one leaves off. And there's a lot that happens in this one, and you find out a lot, especially towards the end. I really enjoyed the character arcs for the series and seeing where the characters ended up. And I will say, as far as series endings go, this was one of the better endings. Like, usually, sometimes I'm disappointed with how a series ends. It's very rare that I'm ever really fully satisfied with the ending. But this was one of the better series endings, and I really liked it. Yeah, so overall, I love the whole series. Highly recommend listening to the audiobook. And that's pretty much it for the series review. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have read this series. Let me know your thoughts on it. And if you haven't read the series yet, go pick it up and read it because it's amazing. And then come back here and let's chat about it. So that's it for this video. I will see you guys soon with another one. Bye!